Hello everyone. Today in this class we are going to start chapter 2, Growth of Indian Nationalism. In this chapter the main key points are growth of Indian nationalism and the factors that contributed towards its growth, like role of western education, transport, communication and socio religious reform movement. Then next point is the role of printing press. Then what other events occurred during this time? The birth of Indian National Congress and contribution of Dadabhai Naroji. So these are the main points we are going to discuss in this chapter. So first of all, what does the chapter mean? Growth of Indian nationalism. Okay. First of all, we should know what is nationalism. Then why did the growth of nationalism took place in Indian history? We will know that. That means what was the demand of the time that the feeling of nationalism grew amongst Indian minds during that time? This question, why? Okay, so we need to know first what was the background. That means on what background this kind of nationalism grew, and why did it grow at that particular point of time. Like, as we already know, India was ruled by the British. Okay, so it was on this background that Indian nationalism grew. So why did it grow? We will see that. So first of all, what does nationalism mean? The word nationalism, what does it mean? It is a feeling of love and pride for our own country. Okay, it is a feeling that our country is better than others. So this feeling is called nationalism. In simple words, this feeling is called nationalism. And in history, this nationalism, this growth of Indian nationalism, what does it depict? It it basically, it is a desire of a group of people to form an independent country. Okay, so in the universal definition of nationalism, it is like a group of people, those group of people belonging to the same race, same culture, language and etc. These are the things, these are the factors, okay, to have nationalism feeling. But in case of India, this does not apply because the culture in India, the language, everyone does not every Indian citizen have speak different kind of languages. In every state there are different kind of languages, their cultures are different, different religions are here. So in India we have a diverse culture, diverse scenario. So in India the case will be that we, the people of India, that means those who are citizens, this group will have a nationalism, common nationalism feeling against whom? Against the foreign rulers, against the ruler who are exploiting them during that time. So they were desiring to build or form an independent country, they were desiring to bring their own rule. So this is the feeling of nationalism. That means uh, it should bring of a feeling of love, pride. Okay, this is a feeling of nationalism. So when did it started? How did it started? That at a particular point of time we attained freedom from the British. So this feeling of nationalism, creating the nationalism feeling and awareness, was a lot of help, as a result of which we attained freedom. Okay, this feeling has done a lot. That means people felt this nationalism. They they knew that they should be ruled by their own people, not by the foreigners. So as a result of this nationalism, national movement started against the British. So first of all we will see how British controlled India, and then how people were uh, getting such kind of nationalism feeling. Okay, it is not a short span of time. It British rule here almost about 200 years, and during this time, uh, Indians got their Western education. So as a result of education, they knew different things, and they got to know about the outside world. They knew different things. So as a result, what happened, they knew that their rule, their independence was harmed by the foreign rule. So this we will study in the following part of the chapter. Okay, so first of all, let us come to the first paragraph. It starts from the downfall of the Mughal Empire, the period from when the Mughal Empire disintegrated. So it was during the time, or you can say the death of the last powerful Mughal emperor, Aurangzeb. Okay, after his death, the empire became very weak, and taking that advantage, the English East India Company entered Indian politics. Understood? So initially they were coming as traders. Later on, to expand their trade interest or to expand their trade, they tried to politically control India, and that was also because of trading interest. Okay, so within a short period of time, what we can see that this East India Company, who was merely a trading company initially, later on it became a powerful political power. Okay, and after 1757, that the Battle of Plassey was fought. Who was defeated in this battle? Sirajud-Daulah, who was the Nawab of Bengal. He was defeated in this Battle of Plassey, and as a result, what happened? It marked as the starting point of British control over India. So, and see, in 1757, what was the marking point? That it was the British political control over India started, and right after 100 years, it is 1857. What happened? People of India rose in revolt against the British rule. Okay, this marks the 1857 revolt. So this 1857 revolt, we cannot say that this was started for Indian independence. Okay, but a sense of political freedom they wanted. These Indians during that time, you can say that they these Indians were going after political freedom from this time. But exactly what they wanted, these rebels, they wanted to drive away the British from India and bring back what rule? The Mughal rule. And the last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Jafar II, to the actual ruler, as the actual ruler. So, as I say, last powerful ruler of the Mughals, that means during whose rule Mughal um, rule was intact, and Mughal rule was enjoying power at its peak. You can say it that it was Aurangzeb. After Aurangzeb, also few rulers were there, but they were not politically, or you can say economically, that much powerful or strong. So these rulers after Aurangzeb, you cannot say that they were not Mughal rulers, or but they were less powerful. Okay, they were less powerful, and Bahadur Shah Jafar II was the last Mughal emperor, though not the powerful one, but the last Mughal emperor. And people during that time who revolted against the British, they wanted to bring back the Mughal ruler, this Mughal ruler Bahadur Shah Jafar II, to the rule. Okay, to the rule of India, or to the throne, you can say, as the actual ruler. But they did not actually win. this revolt did not actually accomplish its goals or its destiny. So but you cannot say that 1857 revolt's results were a failure. Okay, 1857 revolt has a far-reaching impact in the Indian history during the British period. So it was this revolt that people of India started uh, being more national. There was more national awakening in India during 18 from this event 1857 revolt. Okay, Indians started to think in this way. So another factor added to the growing of this national consciousness among the Indian people. Okay, but Indians were gaining a new consciousness. Okay, they were giving birth to a new India in the 19th century. So what were the factors? One of the most important factor is the Western education. Western education was introduced into India by the British. Okay, by this Western education, as a result of this Western education, what happened? Indians experienced a new spirit of awakening. Okay, through education, they uh, earlier they were blinded by blind faith. Okay, their outlook was different towards the society, their beliefs were different. So as a result of education, Western education, what happened? Now they could think, they could reason. Okay, they could logically think about this all these things. Now they don't uh, follow blind faith like before. I am telling about only those who were educated. It is not that entire Indian society equally they were changing. It was it was basically those people who were getting or who were privileged enough to get themselves with Western education during that time. So as a result, what happened? As a result of Western education, outlook towards the society changed, and as a result, those people who were educated with Western education, who were they what happened? They tried to know. They actually understood the exploitative manner of the foreign rule, how exploitative British rule was towards Indians. So they were now capable to know about that. Okay, and on the other hand, they also sensed their own responsibility. As a result of this education, Western education, now their outlook have changed. They have seen the nature of the British rule. Okay, now they have seen it from before, but what happened now, they are understanding it thoroughly. Okay, and also they are developing a sense that they are responsible for their own country, for their own race. Okay, their own society. So this responsibility, this sense, they could sense as a result of Western education. So you can see that a new India was growing during 19th century. As we know about Europe, Renaissance that took place in Europe during the 16th century. Europe underwent huge changes towards outlook in the education field, in science, in everywhere. There was rebirth of learning things. Okay, so in the same way, India also, it was experiencing new things, like they were changing their outlook towards the society. Those people who were educated, they were changing their outlook towards the society. So Western education influenced a lot. So how Western education influenced a lot, we will see in details in the following part of the chapter. In the subtopic 2.1 are the following factors that led to the growth of Indian nationalism, and the first of the topic is Western education. As I have already told, this is one factor, one of the factors that led to the growth of Indian nationalism. Understood? So let me just simply make you understand that how education enlighten us. Okay, suppose we don't know anything, neither to read nor to write, no, we don't have education, we are not going to schools, we don't have educations. In that case we might not have understood what is going on in our country during this time. Okay, now because we are educated enough, we have been educated by our teachers in the schools. Okay, in different subjects we know, we have vast knowledge in different fields now. Okay, in your standard you have acquired huge knowledge in this science. Again, in geography we have huge knowledges. Okay, at least we know how this how our art functions. We have knowledge because we are educated. So as we are educated, we can easily catch up what are the problems going on in our society. Okay, like in present day, why are we in lockdown, we understand it. Okay, why are we in why are we following the rules set up by the government, we understand it because we are educated. So these are the things, these are the results of education. So during that time when western education was provided by the British, see, types of education are different in different places. So through western education, what were the knowledge given to the people that affected, that influenced a lot in the growing of national consciousness among people. Okay, once they became educated, these people, they gradually grew consciousness in their minds. They are now becoming conscious that as they are being ruled by the foreign rulers, what actually is freedom they got to know now. Why they should be free from this foreign rule, they are capable of understanding this now. Okay, so while going through in this part, you will know it better. So the 2.1.1 is influence of western education. So what we see here, so education in India, it was western education in India, it was basically propagated by the Christian missionaries and some progressive Indians who were supporting the missionaries. Okay, they tried to revive the education system in India. Okay, many schools and colleges were opened in Bengal, different parts of India, and one act was passed, that is the Charter Act of 1813, where the British Parliament provided an annual expenditure of 1 lakh rupees to be spent on educating the Indians. So we see that here British Parliament passed this act with along with 1 lakh rupees, where it is mentioned that 1 lakh rupees was to be sent annually. Annually means in a year, and it will be spent upon what? Educating the Indians. And in 1835, Lord Macaulay, he advocated that for the introduction of Western education, okay, English should be the medium or as the medium of instruction in India. Medium of instruction, like I am instructing or explaining this chapter in which language? English. Okay, English should be the medium of instruction in the education system or in the Western education system in India. Who initiated or who advocated this? Lord Macaulay in 1835. And for the growth of education or in a systematic way, Wood's dispatch was sent to India. Okay, this is very important. Wood's dispatch. Okay, under whom? Charles Wood. Who was Charles Wood? He was the president of the board of control. Okay, he presented a comprehensive plan. That means comprehensive means what? A very understandable, a very clear plan for the spread of modern education system in India. Okay, the system was that, as presented by Charles Wood, there will be a systematic educational hierarchy from what? Primary through high school and college to university. like we have an education system. We have primary level, then we go to high school level, then higher secondary level, then in present day I'm telling, and then college. Okay, different degrees we get in college, like different streams we have. Okay, then at last that means university level, and even beyond that. Okay, this is a system, hierarchical system. Okay, we cannot jump and go to any class, or we cannot jump and go and acquire any kind of education. We cannot do that. We have a hierarchy to follow here. Okay, and this was the system during that period of time in 1854 Charles Wood presented. Okay, this hierarchy of schooling, or of education, from primary to high school, then from college to university. And in the school level, he encouraged that vernacular language should be used in the school level. Okay, only in the university level, English should be used. It was the um, idea of Charles Wood in this education system, that vernacular at school level and in English language in the university level. And also he mentioned about meritorious students would be given scholarships by the government. Okay, so to encourage these educational institutions, that means to grow with more numbers, granting aid were also laid down. And also in every provinces, in all provinces, he recommended the establishment of education department. Like we are seeing the administrative structure in the previous chapter. There are self-governing bodies in the local level, in the provincial level, like decentralization of power. That means even in the center there is power, even in the state or even in the provinces there is power. That means administration is divided. So in that way, even the education department, it is not that the only center will look after everything. Charles Wood also recommended that the provinces will have their own departments of education. They will look after their own departments in their in the own provinces. They will look after their education. So this was the Charles Wood's idea or presentation of the entire education system, through which it was looked after. It was looked after by the this matter was looked into by the Wood's dispatch. Okay, now coming to the next paragraph, what the British government thought, the British administrators, as they were giving or introducing Western education to the Indians, they thought that these educated Indians will be ready to serve them. Okay, ready to serve the British government. They will be like humble, subservient, so they will be ready to serve the British. Okay, they will be interested. This was the idea of the Britishers. They thought in this way. That is why they it was for their own benefit. Actually, they started providing Western education to the Indians. But what happened? But what was the result? What do you think these Indians were thinking in that way? Later on, although no doubt Indians served in the British administration, they were working there, but there were different ideas sparkling in their mind. Okay, different flow of ideas were coming as more and more people were getting educated. Okay, they were getting in contact with liberal and radical thoughts, different kind of political thinkers like Voltaire, Rousseau, Macaulay, James Mill. All these people's influence in, that means their thoughts influence these educated minds. Okay, these people of India who were educated with Western education, they also got inspired by the ideas of nationalism, democracy, self-government. All these ideas they only got through the education system. Okay, once they got educated, once they knew how to learn, they were exposed to various ideas during that time. Okay, they even were influenced, or they even were inspired by the stories of like French Revolution, American War of Independence, unification of Germany, Italy. Okay, all these stories inspired them. Understood? So what the British thought and what is happening now, this is the difference. So more and more people, they knew that now they knew that they should be more conscious towards their own society, as they were reading various news or various stories of outside land. Okay, foreign lands. Now they are gaining consciousness that they were being ruled by this exploitative class of exploitative foreign rulers. Now through these stories they are getting more inspiration, more consciousness, more national awakening. Okay, so as a result, what happened, they became ready. Okay, as a result, Indians became ready to work for their own country. It is not, here don't misunderstand that they got ready to work for the Britishers. The government was British, the rulers were British that time, but these Indians got inspired to work for their own country. Means what? To throw away these Britishers and control the administration by themselves. Understood? So they wanted the liberation of their own country. Their country were under this suppressive British rule. Their country means what to say, it is our country was under the suppressive British rule, and from what we need liberation. Okay, and for liberation there must be national unity among every Indian. So now these educated Indians will spread the idea of national consciousness, national unity among every Indians, and this will, as a result, you will see that a mass national awakening is growing among the Indian minds. Okay, and how they try to give messages to the society of about national awakening through their writings. During that time, writing was a popular means. Okay, it was a popular medium through which they can reach out to people through their writings, even through poems, even through dramas. You will see, even through songs, this kind of songs, these patriotic songs. Okay, which will uh, arouse a sense of nationalism amongst the people. Songs like what? Sare Jahan Se Acha It Is in your book, Vande Mataram, the entire song is given in your book. So you can see it from here. Why these were written? Why these were sung by the people? Just to create awakening. Because during that time, everyone was not educated. Every people of India, because most people were poor, most people were not privileged enough to get Western education. Okay, forget about Western education, even the even the simple form of education they were not privileged enough to get. So those people, how will they understand what nationalism means, what national awakening means, why we need unity, or why we should fight against the British? They should be explained by these educated Indians. How will these educated Indians explain it to those people, those Indians uneducated, unprivileged, poor class? How will they create awareness? It was through the songs. Okay, through famous slogans used during that time. Okay, these were the means. Even today, if a leader wants us to know about the problems we are facing in our country, okay, various leaders or various organizations, how they give, they deliver speech. Yes or no? They deliver speech so that we can know about the problems we are facing right now, actually what we should do regarding in order to solve these problems. Through the speeches, we know that, because today also many people are there who work as laborers. Okay, who are not much exposed to the education of the country, who are still not privileged. Society is always dynamic. Okay, society never develops equally at every stage. Okay, so we are today lucky that we got education. If there are still people who are not that lucky enough, they are working in some factories and all. Okay, these people, they also have the right to know, they also have the right to get educated, but they are not getting. So as a result, if we are to fight against some odds in our country, we all people have to be united. It is not that we only the educated ones will have to be united. Everyone will have to be united to fight against the odds. So to get united, those class of people who are not educated enough, their uh, it is the duty of the educated ones to make them understand through various means. So through various means, through songs, through dramas, through plays, during that time they created awareness among the minds of the people. Understood? This is how education, how Western education influenced the minds of Indian people to create national awareness. Next point, 2.1.2, is the means of transport and communication. This one we will study in our next class. Thank you.